almost crashed it there. Okay, so when you bind it, you got to make sure that it's level. And when I bound the radio, it wasn't level. So the elevator is off quite a bit there, it seems. So I'm going to redo that. So the gyro should be calibrated to level. Okay, let's see here. Looks like it's still got some up trim there. Let's see how it goes. Starting off in 6G or beginner mode. And I'm in low rates. Not a lot of wind right now. Very, very smooth flying right off the bat there. You just gotta make sure that when you do the bind, it knows what level is. Otherwise, it's gonna probably pitch up a lot or pitch down. Because it calibrates the gyros when you do the bind. Yeah, you can fly this pretty slow. If you give it a little bit of throttle, it'll pop up, and then I'll drop the throttle quite a bit here, and it should bring it down. I see that. Actually, the throttle is off. It's just gliding right there. No, the props are not spinning. Yeah, I got the props spinning now. See if I can do a low speed pass by me here, bring it around nice and slow. Yeah, you can see glides pretty nice. There's not a lot of wind right now. That's actually going into the wind right there. And let's see what happens if I let go of the sticks. Has a little bit of a tendency to go to the right. I'm going to try and trim that out a little bit. So in beginner mode, it's going to use rudder and aileron together for you. But if you give it rudder in the beginner mode, it'll turn really quick like that. If you do both together, do much quicker turns. And yeah, it doesn't seem like it wants to stall. Gyros are working pretty nice. Should be really easy for beginners to fly. Very quiet too, nice little glider. All right, I'm gonna try the 3D mode. See if we can switch it in here. I'll go into the wind first. All right, so we should be able to, well, yeah, it's much more pitch sensitive. I'm gonna stick it back into 6G mode here. I think it is because of this toy controller. The gimbals are kind of stiff for my liking. Let's try that again, get up higher. Do a loop there. Yeah, pitch is way more sensitive in the 3D mode. Let's go high rates and see if it'll roll. It'll roll, but yeah, it's you're gonna need a lot of altitude. It's a slow roll even on high rates. Stick it back in 6G mode. It can get a little exciting in the 3D mode. It's capable, but I don't think I would do it with this controller. Now, if I combine this with a hobby grade controller, I think it'll be a little bit more controllable. So I think for beginners, I would recommend staying in beginner mode. Yeah, the rolls are, even on the high rate, are kind of slow. I almost stalled out there. Yeah, even in the beginner mode, it's kind of pitch sensitive. You can see there. If you yank on, I'm in the higher rates now, so that's why it's a little bit more sensitive. So you can even in the beginner mode here. Let's see, let's take it up a little higher. Yeah. So this is the most angle. Yeah, I can get probably about 35 degrees in the beginner mode. So if you're pitched all or angled all the way over. Not exactly sure what the flight time is on this, but it's got 300 milliamp hour 2S LiPo. And pretty sure it's going to be a really long flight time. This thing's just, I mean, I'm barely on half throttle. It's hardly even moving the props at all. Very quiet. I think the wind is shifting around a bit here. It looked like it was going downwind instead of into the wind there, but then it shifted back, it looks like. So I'm going to cut the throttle here. Just going to glide it in here. Let's see how does that glide. See, the props aren't spinning. You can definitely have long, if you're like into slope soaring, this might be a lot of fun. You could probably just cut the throttle and then fly it into the wind. Yeah, the wind's definitely shifting around. I can feel it. So it's not a lot of wind, but it's shifting around. This glider reminds me a lot of one of the first planes I flew. I think it was the UMX Radian, but that was a 1S, and you had to pretty much fly it in no wind at all. It was difficult to fly in any kind of wind. This one I think would handle wind much better. I mean, even in its common conditions, it's like super smooth. So it's 2S, a little bit bigger, real wings here with like a actual cord instead of like basically a paper airplane. Like the UMX Radian wing was just essentially flat wing. This has an actual cord on there. You can get even in beginner mode or 6G mode, you can still maneuver it quite a bit. Doing some nice figure eights here. I think this would be a really nice airplane for a beginner to learn on. And pretty inexpensive too. I almost stalled there again. I think I was maybe using a little bit too much rudder. Wow, I almost crashed it there. Yeah, it's a little getting hard to get used to this controller. I don't really like this controller with the toy gimbals. I know that some of the other XK planes use the Futaba protocol, but this one doesn't seem to, so I'll have to find out. If anyone knows what protocol this uses, I would love to use my jumper radio and fly this. I think I would be able to have much more fun with it. I think it was like, what, $60 with the controller. Definitely a good plane to learn on for beginners. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back to the low rate here. I think it was in high rate, and if I put too much rudder and aileron together, it turns too quickly and it tends to try and stall out. It's like I almost crashed that last time, so I'm gonna go back into the low rate, and yeah, that's a much more, it's much more controlled there. It doesn't pitch over as much where it might stall. I think this flight time is going to be super long if you use the battery. You might even be able to use a bigger battery in here. I was able to stuff in a 450 on some of my tests, just to test the CG. So yeah, if you get like 15 minutes on a 300, you're going to get 25 minutes on a 450. The CG seemed a bit tail heavy with the battery in there. So that might have explained some of the pitchiness in when I was flying in the 3D mode. So that might be something that I'll look at later in another video. Alright, I think I'm going to bring it in. Pretty good demo. See if I can land it on these bushes in front of me. Alright. Oh, it just glides forever. Holy crap. Okay. Let's try that again. I might have to take it further out. Alright, yeah, I don't think it's going to work. One more try. It's got quite a bit of speed in the glide. Go further out here. Turn it. Oh, it's because it's going downwind here, that's why. Yeah, I should actually try it the other way. The wind's coming from that direction. Let's try the other direction. It'll glide slower. There we go, that's much better. Well, maybe I'll just try and catch it. And I'll start a little lower too. Definitely slows down into the wind here. A little bit too low that time. One more try. Determined to land this in front of me. I might be really high there. I have no throttle right now. Absolutely no throttle here. And that was too high. That's just look at that. That's a beautiful glide there. All right, I'm gonna try a little lower this time. Cutting the throttle. Oh, I hit the bush. Yeah, that was no damage there. Yeah, no damage to the plane. Just missed it by like a foot. Wanted to land it like right on there. Okay, so I'm going to do another flight here with a bigger battery. It's a 450 GMB 2S. And a little adapter for the micro low C connector. And we're going to bind it up. The gyro should be nice and stable. It's going to be a little bit more nose heavy, so we'll see how it flies. No wind right now. Very nice launch. See, we do a little bit of low flying. I don't think CG is being affected too much by a little bit extra weight in the front. I think it was a little bit tail heavy before. You can see now it flies really smooth. I still feel that though this brushed motor is a little bit underpowered for the weight, even on 2S. I think a brushless motor in here would be pretty stellar. No wind right now, so it looks really smooth in the air. Alright, let's just do a little full speed pass. Curious how fast this thing is. Kind of coming in. That's full speed right there. Not that fast. So yeah, this is totally fine flying at a park. Little soccer field like this. Props off, or they have no throttle there. Just gliding. You can hear the prop kind of making a little bit of vibration. Alright, let's bring it in here with no throttle. Just gliding. Oh, a little bit of throttle there. I can hear a little bit of vibration in the prop. Alright, so this is no throttle here. Alright, so with no wind, let's see if I can catch it. Just aim it right at me. Ah, missed it. Got it that time. I came in really fast. I actually, when I grabbed it there, put a little bit of a dent in the wing. I don't know if you can see that, but it's not too bad. I'm just gliding it in again. Yeah, a nice calm day like this, you could be out here for hours. A little overcast, so no sun bothering me. This one's a lot of fun. Yeah, I happen to be flying in the low rate too. See how low I can get this. Oh, I landed it. So I'm gonna do some tight circles around me here. Ooh, I think it just stalled out there at the last second. A little bit too tight, a little bit too fast. I think the gyro actually is probably what kind of freaked out there. Let's see what the damage is. Doesn't look like there's any damage at all. Did go in nose first. Pop seems okay. I think I was pushing the gyro to the limit there. Get it nice and low to the ground. Oh, did it once again. I think the gyro does something there, because that wasn't me doing that. Must not like those circles. Maybe I need to keep up a little bit more throttle. Maybe a little bit higher off the ground. I think when I added rudder there, at a slower speed, at this sort of that angle, it doesn't like that. And the gyro just kind of freaks out. It's doing that again right there. Oh, yeah. I have a feeling maybe one of the ailerons might be binding up. Let's check that out here, because it was wing tipping over. Let's see what's going on. It all seems okay. Alright, let's try manual mode. I have maybe a feeling that the CG is a little bit too nose heavy now. Let's find out here. So now we're in manual mode. Well, the CG seems okay. A little more rudder to the turn. It's not stalling out. possible that the gyro is having some sort of an issue in the beginner mode. I'm not sure. Manual mode seems to be fine, or 3D mode. Yeah, it's very stable even in the 3D mode. I can fly it a lot faster too. Oh, it's way faster. If I put it back into self-level or the 6G mode, level's out. Yeah, strange. I'm not sure what that is. That probably stalls because if it's too slow, perhaps. The angle, or the fact that it's going around in circles doesn't like that. If I'm changing directions, just watch it here. I'm back in the 6G mode. Seems to be nice and stable. Definitely fly a lot slower. I have no idea what the flight time is going to be like on this 450. It's going to be long. I think it's going to be like 20 minutes. It seems okay now. No idea. So smooth. Yeah, this is going to be a really good flyer for pretty much any beginner. Just flies so nice. Just feels a little bit underpowered. If I had a 2S brushless motor, maybe a slightly bigger prop, yeah, it would be, I think a much better plane for experienced pilots. It's kind of what I was wishing for. I also want to fly this with a hobby grade transmitter, so this toy grade transmitter. I feel like I'd have a little more control as well. Anyway, having too much fun with this. Want to keep flying, but I've got other things I gotta do today, so I'm gonna have to end this flight here. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Talk to you guys in the next one. Okay, in this video we're checking out the XK A800. This is a micro RC glider. XK micro airplanes are a little bit on the higher end. There's that does come with gyro stabilization, and I guess they call it a 6G mode, where it's like keeps this level and prevents it from crashing. Sort of beginner mode, and then has a 3D mode where you can do full acro, flips and rolls, and all that kind of good stuff. If you're more of an advanced pilot. This one runs on 2S. I believe the other XK RC micro airplanes also run on 2S. There's another one that I'm coming. I'll be reviewing soon. The DHC2. It's like a de Havilland Beaver. It's like a front prop plane with the top wing. This is more like an RC glider soaring plane. The props fold up so you can do some slope soaring with this one. Supposed to be pretty easy to fly, but it is 4 channels. It does come with ailerons and elevator and rudder controls. So just take a quick look at doing a quick unboxing here, and then we'll put it together, and then we'll take it out to the park and fly it. Okay, so in the box you get a simple set of instructions on how to put it together. It doesn't look like it's too hard. You got the wings in 2 pieces, 2 screws here to put that together, and then you have 1 screw that goes through the bottom here and holds the tail together, the elevator and the rudder. And I believe that's pretty much it. I don't think there's any other assembly needed, and of course you get the manual itself. The plane looks like it was shipped pretty good. It doesn't look like anything's broken. The box has a few little dings on it, but it looks like the glider itself is in good shape. Here's a quick look at the tail, the rudder, and look, obviously you'll have to hook on the little push rods and stuff, and then there's a screw that's going to go through to hold that on. And here's the elevator. Looks like the push rods go on underneath, and screw hole here. Okay, so I just went ahead and grabbed the rest of the stuff out of the box and got the styrofoam out of the way. Yeah, the wing looks pretty nice. There's one little ding right here. Doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look like there's any other damage to this, and obviously the wings are assembled here in the center. And this is the other side. Doesn't look like there's any damage on this side. Looks fine. Yeah, you got individual ailerons, and you got that servo here in the wing, assembly here in the center. You got the little connectors for your servo that's going to go into the main body. So we're just going to be plugging them in right here. And then inside you have the 2 servos for the tail section for the rudder and elevator. So these are little micro servos. Yeah, pretty good quality looks like. And in front here we have a folding prop. And there is a spare prop in case you do happen to break the main one. There's a spare prop included. The canopy cover is plastic, and it has some foam on the inside with some clips that holds it to the fuselage here. And then you have the 2S LiPo. This is a 300 milliamp hour 2S LiPo with a micro low-Z connector. They do include the charger here. It just charges via USB, and it just charges via the balance plug. And these are the screws that are needed to put the wings on and the tail section on. Okay, so the 3 screws, they come in 3 lengths, 30, 20, and 25. 25 goes into the tail section. The 30 and the 20 go into the wing, and the 30 is a longer one and goes into the front part of the wing. The 20 goes into the back part of the wing. Okay, so in order to get the 2 wings together, they basically just lock in together. They slide in here. There's a little locking mechanism here. So you're going to take the top wing, or this is the top section here, and we're going to put it over the top of the other wing here, and then we're going to slide these together. And there's a little clip right here that should hold the 2 wings together once everything is lined up. Looks like it's okay. And then we're going to go ahead and plug in our 2 servo leads. And then we're just going to go ahead and tuck in the wires, make sure they don't get caught on anything, and just put the wing on. And go ahead and put our 2 screws in. Okay, so that's the main wing that's on there. Should be fine with the 2 screws. Okay, so we're going to put the tail together. There's a little notch here on the elevator. It goes right here. Okay. And then the obviously the push rod will be on the bottom here. We'll hook that up to the elevator here in a little bit. I'm going to put the rudder on, and then this push rod needs to be on the side that the little connector is at. Go ahead and put in our screw. Okay, so that the tail's on nice and secure now with that screw. Before we hook on the little control rods here, we're going to make sure the servos are centered. Okay, just checking the ailerons. You can see the control rods moving. They're not actually connected, it's grabbing on. Okay, so that's nice and centered. Okay, so I got the control rod connected here, and you can just screw or twist this here to get either shorter or longer. So it's clockwise to make it shorter, and counterclockwise to make it longer. And you want to make sure that this is nice and level. So you can do that probably with the transmitter on, and try and check that with the transmitter on or off, and then let's make sure that the servo is centered. So looks like it's fairly level. Otherwise, you'll be out of trim when you try and launch it. You'll either dive down or take off. Same with the rudder. And then there's these little, it's hard to see, but these little clear pieces of plastic here. You want to slide those all the way up so that it keeps this together so it doesn't fall off in flight. Otherwise, you'll lose control of the plane. Okay, so here's the transmitter. It takes 4 AA batteries in the back here. Pretty basic operation on this one, but I'll just show you quickly how it works. When you first plug in the battery, the plane won't make any noise at all. So you go ahead and turn the transmitter on, and then to bind it, throttle all the way up, and then down. And then once it's bound, you can hear the servos are activated. Now you can actually see the elevator or ailerons move, elevator and rudder. And the button for rates, the default rate is low rate. That's this button here. It also shows up on the screen there, right here as an L. And if you hit this button, it beeps twice. It means you're on high rate. You see it changes to an H, and then back again to low rate. Single beep, 2 beeps for high rate. And then there's the rudder for high rate. And is low rate, so less movement. Okay, so once you throttle up, the gyro stabilization will start to take effect. And you can see as wind hits it, it'll use this control surfaces to adjust for that and keep it nice and level. And the button over here on the right shoulder is going to be your 6G and 3D mode. So it's in 6G mode, so it means it's going to fly nice and level. It'll keep it actually level so you can't roll it over, and it's for like beginners. And then that's 1 beep. When you have 2 beeps, that's 3D mode. It means you can actually roll it over and everything. Still has stabilization, so it'll counteract the effects of the wind, but you can do full rolls and loops and everything in that mode. So it's 2 beeps. 1 beep is back at the beginner mode basically. 2 beeps is like expert mode.